You would imagine that the City has been a big popular car for Honda, and that's correct. The City has been very big and very popular, but it has been the Amaze that fetches the numbers for the Japanese giant. And it has been doing that since 2013 when it was first launched. A couple of years back, the Amaze was given a new generational update, and now in 2021, that generational update has been given a bit of a facelift. What all has changed? Let's drive and explore. When I first drove the Amaze back in 2013, that was in Goa, I remember, and we came back pretty impressed because the dynamics were pretty alright. It was, of course, based on the Brio, which was a fun little hatchback. So the fundamentals were all very good. It did really kind of get a little bothered by some things here and there, but in the entirety of things, overall, it wasn't too bad, and we genuinely thought that the Amaze is finally going to be that one car to give the Dzire a run for its money. And to a certain extent it kind of did, but of course, because the scale of the Dzire is just on a different plane, the Amaze could never really keep up. But then a couple of years back, it was given a full generational update, and now this is, as I said in the beginning, is the facelifted version of that second generation Amaze, and largely things are pretty much the same. The chassis is the same. It hasn't really gotten altered in mechanical ways at all. It's only cosmetics and some features here and there. So it is just a very minor facelift because you have to keep up with the changing times, and you have to also start offering some features that the customers really want, and they've been offered by the rivals for quite a while now. Honda has given the Amaze a good makeover on the front, so you will see a nice big chrome that runs all the way in the grille section. And the biggest change actually is in the form of the LED headlamps. The rear is also a nice C-shaped treatment, so it's a cluster lamp and good elements over there as well, but you will definitely identify the facelifted Amaze with the headlamp unit, and that is actually the biggest change that you can see, along with the bumpers, some discrete changes on the body, and that's about it. I really like the fact that the instrument panel is not a big gimmicky digital affair. It is all very analog. So you have two big dials, one for speedo, one for tacho, and in the middle you have the temperature gauge and the fuel gauge with a little TFT that gives you all the other information. Move a little towards the left from the instrument cluster, and then you will see the digital element, that is the screen. And this one is not really the biggest out there, to be honest. It's 17 and some centimeters, but thankfully the system has changed dramatically from the past, and the responsiveness has really shot up. It is crisp, responds very nicely. It could have been angled a little better because at some angles it catches the sunlight and you can't really see a lot, or at least see very clearly, but it's better than what it used to be in the previous generation model. In terms of features, Honda has been lacking in the past, and it's still not at the level of the rivals. You do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but it's all wired, so you don't have a wireless system over here. That is also not a big concern for me because, fine, in this price bracket, you probably will have to look at something like the Sonnet or the Venue to really push the boundaries of features. And those are subcompact crossovers, they are not even sedans. So in terms of offering a wired system for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, I'm going to forgive it. But what really is disappointing is to see that there is no AC vent at the rear, which is just very strange. The AC works fine, it's absolutely powerful, it brings down the cabin temperature in a jiffy. So the effectiveness is great, but then the people sitting at the back are going to, of course, feel that delay in the cabin getting cooler, and that's something that really Honda should have taken note of. Now I remember that when the original Amaze was launched, I automatically compared it to the Brio in the way it drove, because it was essentially the same platform. So I expected the Amaze also to behave something similarly, but it wasn't. It was a very, very different experience. The front end was not all that communicative. The rear, of course, because of the added weight, was a little wavered. But with the generational change, all this kind of got sorted, and this one, it's exactly the same. The steering, that feels a little odd because it has a sense of stickiness to it. Off center, it's not the best, but you live with it and you start to kind of get adjusted to the way it behaves. It's not even the most direct, but it does change direction pretty alright. The front end kind of sticks pretty nicely, and it may not be the most darty sort of chassis, but it's something that you can definitely play around with. Not that this segment itself is made of cars that you should play with. No, you can't and you should not. But if you had to, the front is definitely going to be a little bit more responsive, a little bit crisper than before. The steering, as I said, could be better. It just kind of feels like it's getting stuck in the middle somewhere. And the engine is exactly the same as before as well. So the one that we are driving is a petrol, 1.2 liters in capacity, and makes about 90 bhp. But those horses come really north in the rev range. You literally have to rev out the engine to the max to be able to get the 90 bhp experience. It redlines somewhere around 6,000 rpm, and it's only after 4,000 that you really feel that the engine has kind of just woken up. And I think that's just weird, because most of the times people are just going to drive it very sedately. So you need a good torque curve, which is also not the case. You're not going to complain about it, but it's something that is always going to linger in your mind, right? And otherwise, there is hardly anything to complain about this engine. The clutch could be slightly lighter. It's for this petrol engine, it's kind of heavy right now, but that's just nitpicking. So the engine, okay, not really the best out there, not the most in sync with your throttle inputs, but something that you will definitely live with. And it also speaks volumes, because when you have 68% of the sales of the Amaze coming from tier 2 and tier 3 towns, that means it is being driven at a fairly sedate pace, because the road conditions are going to be not as great. So I think over there, people have already started to adjust the way of driving, and they've been able to live with the car. But it could also be the case that they've actually gone in favor of the 1.5 ID Tech engine, which is a diesel, makes about 100 bhp, and that is a lot more tractable. But of course, over the past couple of years or a little bit more, we have seen a dramatic shift happening in favor of the petrol. So you never know. I'll have to ask Honda to give me the details of the split between petrol and diesel in those areas as well. Now the Amaze in both petrol and diesel comes with an option of a CVT gearbox, and I have sampled that gearbox in the past, and it's nothing really to talk a lot about. It's nothing to write home about. It does the job, and that's exactly how it should be described. It's a no-fuss gearbox. Does not really work with you in the way a manual gear shift is going to, definitely, because the sense of involvement with a manual gearbox is that much heightened, especially in these kind of cars, because then you can really adjust your driving as well and get the most out of the engine in terms of fuel efficiency also. So to wrap things about the Honda Amaze, now somebody told me that this looks like the Civic because of that chrome bar at the front. It does not. Let me just break it down as bluntly as possible. It does not look like the Civic. It of course looks a little bit richer than before, but it is definitely not a looker even now. And that's not the problem of the Amaze. It's just that this segment itself has produced some really questionable designs, because everybody really wants to catch in on that sub 4 meter sedan sort of a shape, and it just does not work. Look at any car in the segment. It's definitely grown a little bit compared to what it was before. And you get fairly decent amount of features. There is no wireless charging, and there are no AC vents for the rear passengers, which is a big minus point in my book. Everything else in terms of the way it drives, it's okay, it's acceptable. The engine is pretty alright. The mid-range is okay, but you really have to stretch it to the maximum. I'm talking about the petrol, of course, because the power comes in at the top. The diesel is going to be a very popular engine because of the flexibility that it offers. If you want a car for a nuclear family that has decent amount of space, it has okay quality, and will be a fairly faultless companion to you, the Amaze does the job just fine.